Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and today I'm going to talk to you about some hay fever tips for children. If you don't know, my eldest daughter Eva, who is 7, she's what they call an atopic child. So she has eczema, asthma, food allergies and aero allergies as well. So she has really bad hay fever and she's had that since she was a baby. Unbeknownst to us, obviously, we were under consultant led for her food allergies because she's allergic to cow's milk. And so when she was, I think she was about 5, she had this skin prick test. And that was when we really, everything sort of came together and we knew that she had hay fever. She is allergic to all the aero allergens that they test. So pet and dust, but also trees, grass, pretty much everything that you would get in the inside and the outside, bless her. So we knew that we had to come up with strategies to help her because she adores the outside. We love adventuring, she loves nature, and I did a lot of research and all of the tips seem to have been avoidance. So don't go to highly pollinated places, don't go out between 5 and 7, don't go out early in the morning. And I wanted to try something different so that she could feel more normal and she didn't have to just avoid everything all of the time. But having said that, we ended up in A&E probably every year before we found out, because we would find that she had got swollen eyes so badly that she couldn't see, and we just didn't know what she was reacting to. And that was from like 6 months old. She was born in December, so like the spring, summer after she was born, and every year after that. One time specifically, I think she was about 3, and we found that she walked on grass with no shoes on, and I think it was within an hour she'd got a rash all over her face, really swollen eyes, and then that lasts like a few days. So these tips are all mostly preventative things that we do because prevention is better than cure. And a lot of people around us do say that they don't even realise that she has severe hay fever, or that she is allergic to these things. And so it may seem quite strict what we do, but it really does help her to lead like an adventurous, normal sort of childhood. So I'll get to it, and I've got 10 sort of tips here. So the first one is to always wear shoes outside. Like I mentioned, the one specific time that we had a really bad reaction was when she walked on grass. It was just cut grass, I will add, because obviously that is the worst for bringing up all of the pollen. But yes, she always wears shoes and closed shoes outside. So if she's going on grass, then she doesn't wear flip-flops. So she'll wear closed shoes and also take them off when we come inside. We don't wear shoes in the house anyway, but when we go in anywhere, then we take them off, obviously because of carrying the pollen inside. Tip number 2 is to wear sunglasses. When they are really small, if you realise that they've got hay fever sort of as a baby, you can get wraparound sunglasses. Eva won't wear them anymore, but any kind of sunglasses that stop the pollen from getting in and around their eyes is better. And they can wear them at school if they've got a letter from their doctor, because I found that when Eva went to school and when she changed school, because she changed school recently, all of the trees and all of the pollens and things like that are different. So yeah, they can wear sunglasses, but you normally, I think our school did say about having a letter from the doctor. Number 3 is to not dry clothes outside. This is really tricky because 1, it's less expensive, and 2, I mean, is there anything better when it's warm to see clothes on the line? But yeah, the pollen does attach to it, and then you've got it in the house, in the wardrobe, on them before they've even left the house. So it is really important to try, and we do it mostly with Eva's clothes. She seems to be okay with ours being outside, and her sisters as well, but mostly with Eva's clothes, and I will dry them in the dryer or on an airer inside. As I say, it just stops the pollen from attaching to them. Tip number 4 is to close windows. Again, I know it's great to get fresh air, but you don't want to trap pollen inside, especially this is for bedrooms. When I open the windows, I normally open them like for an hour, and I will do this when she goes to school or when she's out of the house. So not first thing in the morning, because the pollen is worse first thing in the morning and between 5 and 7 at night. So I tend to open them like when I've got back from the school run for an hour, a couple of hours, but then make sure, especially in the bedroom, that they are closed for a good amount of time before she then comes back in, and especially when she's going to sleep. But this is also important in cars, because if you have the windows open in cars, obviously when you're driving along, you are actually more likely to get the pollen inside and then trap it in. So I tend to use my air conditioning, obviously, if they need some fresh air in the car. Number 5 is to avoid mowing the grass. This is the worst thing that affects Eva. I know lots of children are different, but when she had the skin prick test, the grass came up the most severe. Oh, apologies, that's my postman. How typical on the 10 minutes that I'm filming a video. Apologies for that, but I don't want to start again, so I'm just going to pick up where I left off, which was number 5, avoiding mowing the grass. Like I said, this is Eva's worst trigger, so we simply don't mow the grass when she's around. We close all the windows, normally do it after bedtime, because it takes like an hour or even 2 for all the pollen to settle down once you've mown the grass, and you've got obviously all the old grass still on the top. So we tend to do it after bedtime. And we also, if our neighbours are mowing their grass, we tend to bring her inside, which is the most dramatic thing that we do, but it's really bad for her, and so she knows and we know that that's the best thing to do. In parks as well, if they've just mown all the grass, we tend not to go on, we tend to avoid it. It will be different obviously for different people, but that's the strategy that works best for us. Number 6, change clothes regularly. We change clothes every day pretty much when it's highly pollinated or she's been somewhere. Even if they're not dirty, we tend to wash them. Also, if she has been somewhere that's highly pollinated or that's been on grass and we have come back inside, like we're on a day out and we've come back inside, I tend to change her clothes as well. Number 7 is to shower instead of a bath. We tend to give the children a shared bath most of the time, especially around winter. It's just nice and we have that routine. But when we've been out in pollinated areas, or just for the ease of it really, from especially spring, that seems to be like her worst time, we tend to use a shower because it washes the pollen off, and rather than obviously sitting in it, and especially in her hair, so we just like wash it all off and yeah, get it down the shower rather than sitting in it. Number 8 is to clean regularly and damp dust. So even as much as you try and avoid bringing pollen into the house, people do it, pets do it if you have pets, and you know, you can't have the windows closed all of the time or avoid it. So clean regularly and to damp dust, which is dusting with a damp cloth. I use microfiber cloths, but I use damp ones, so I don't use any product. But also it just kind of grabs the pollen, and then obviously I wash them so it's out of the way rather than just flinging it up into the air again for it to settle. But dusting regularly, she's also allergic to dust, so I do that anyway. But just to clean regularly anywhere that pollen would have grabbed onto, so any fabrics, toys, or soft furnishings, cushions, anything like that that you think that pollen kind of grabbed onto, especially in bedrooms, because obviously that's where they spend a lot of their time, hopefully, where, you know, there's no escape from it. Number 9 is to wash hands often. This is really important, especially in the summer when you are perhaps eating outside with picnics, or going from outside to inside quite a lot. So I get them to wash their hands, well, both of them actually, especially when we're having picnics, so you don't want to ingest all of that pollen. So wash hands, but also you can wipe eyes with simple water and cotton wool, just to wash that off and stop it from getting into eyes, but also even sitting on the surface and irritating. So we wash hands when we come in from outside and when we're eating. Number 10, and this is obviously the most obvious one, and that is medication. Since Eva was diagnosed with her aeroallergens, she started on a nasal spray. That has been literally the massive change in her symptoms, because once she'd had it, and I think you should have, I don't think you can have it until you are 6. I'm sure that's what they said, and she had it at 5.5 under like consultant guidelines, but this is the one that she has, and it's fluticasone propionate. So this is the one that she has, and what you have to do is every day from, well, when it starts really, we spray this in just one spray in each nostril once a day in the mornings, and it has been a life changer. I know that sounds dramatic, but that's how I feel about it. And this little bottle, it lasts 3 months, so you should use it within 3 months. And so we order 2 or 3 from the GP to last us for the whole season. And as soon as her symptoms appear, normally it is March, so as soon as her symptoms appear, then we start using this. And yeah, it's just been amazing. If they are less than 6, you can also, it's basically a barrier, so you can put other things, so you can have saline nasal sprays, but also like barriers, so Vaseline, like petroleum jelly, outside of the nostrils. It's all about preventing them getting in and irritating them. But I would definitely 100% recommend this or any nasal spray, because it's been a life changer for us, and it does mean that we have to worry about it less, because she hasn't had any severe, touch wood, anything wooden, she hasn't had any severe episodes since she's actually had this, and that's been 2 years. She's 7 now. The other medication obviously is antihistamine. When she has a reaction, we tend to give her antihistamine. Before we started the nasal spray, she was on antihistamine every day anyway, but we have been able to come off of that, which I don't particularly like giving her antihistamine all of the time anyway. So we tend to do that as from a reaction rather than a preventative thing. Although if we are going somewhere highly pollinated, or we know that it's going to be bad, or that she's sort of getting worse symptoms, then we tend to. But we use chlorphenamine, which is just your normal Piriton. She obviously gets this from the doctors, but you can buy this over the counter as well. And this isn't the non-drowsy one, so this is just your normal Piriton. You can get the cetirizine, which again, this is from the doctors, but you can get it from your from just the pharmacy. So this is cetirizine, and this is the non-drowsy option. I would always say to start with the cetirizine, because if it suits your child, then it's better not to have the drowsy bit, the side effects that come with the Piriton. But this actually didn't suit Eva. I've heard of a lot, it might be anecdotal, but I've heard a lot of behavioural things. So it would, I don't know, it kind of made her angry, this did. And I have heard that before. So we switched from this back to Piriton, and it seemed to work for her. So every child is different, obviously, and your doctor would probably be able to guide you in the right direction. But those are the 2 antihistamines that we have tried, and we stick with the Piriton. But like I say, we try not to actually give it to her too much, and try preventative measures more than anything else. The other thing that you can get is eye drops. You can get the saline ones, but also the medicated ones as well, if that's a sort of road that you need to go down. Eva has most of her symptoms from her eyes, like they swell up, but actually the nasal spray has sorted all of that out, whether they're just all connected. The other 2 things that I have heard about but not actually done is the air filters, which obviously clean the air in your house, and honey. So apparently local honey, if you eat local honey, then it's meant to, I don't know, it's meant to help. I don't know whether that's because they say that you get used to it, or like your local pollen, your body gets used to the local pollen because it's the local bees. I don't really know much about that because my girls don't like honey, so I can't even get to try that. But I know that I wanted to drop that in because I know that that is something that I have heard and people have given me as a tip as well. So if you can get your children to eat honey, it might be worth a shot. That's all my tips, and I know it might sound like a joyless existence, like trying to do all these things and washing all the time and telling her not to go on the grass, but it definitely helps, and prevention is better than cure with hay fever. I've seen her suffer so badly that I would do anything to give her the tools, as well as doing it myself, but give her the tools to make sure she can go out in nature. She wants to run through the rapeseed field, she wants to see the bluebells, she wants to throw crunchy leaves at her sister, and I don't want her not to be able to do that. I want to find ways in order to enable her to do that and not feel like she's missing out. So yeah, those are the things we do. Lots of people say that they don't even know that she suffers, so I think we're sort of doing a good job. If you've got any tips, then leave them down below, or let me know any way that you want to. Follow me on Instagram, send me a message, because I'm always willing to hear everybody's story, but also any tips on how we can just make this hay fever lot easier for them. Thank you very much for watching, and if you would like to subscribe, I would love it if you would stick around. I make tips videos like this, but also just normal day in the life, mum life, fashion, interiors, all sorts of things. So I'd love it if you would subscribe and stick around. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.